Welcome, everyone. You've reached Grandma Mo, and we're covering the WNBA playoffs. And this was the game 4, Minnesota Lynx versus the Phoenix Mercury. And after game 3, it was going to be tough for Minnesota. I was rooting for them. I wanted to see a game 5 between these two teams, but Minnesota just didn't have enough. They had a period in the game in that fourth quarter. They had the lead, and they were stuck on 70 points for over 5 minutes, and they just couldn't get a hoop. And it allowed Phoenix to catch them and go ahead. And it's just, it's rough. I mean, congratulations to Phoenix. They played really well. And, they deserved it. It's just after what Minnesota went through last year, and then just come all this way and play so well for the majority of the season, and then having Fee get hurt. I was glad to hear that her ankle is actually not fractured, so that's good. Hoping she'll be okay for Unrivaled. Considering she's one of the founders of Unrivaled, it'd be really cool to see her playing in Unrivaled. Let's hope that it's, that looked like a bad ankle sprain, but it also looked like her weight wasn't fully on that ankle, and she was leaning back. So hopefully it's not as bad as, seeing that looked like. I'm hoping she's okay. And I'm sure everybody's hoping that she's okay because she's such a great player. You want her out on the court playing. So anyway, Phoenix comes away with the win. They pull it out in the fourth quarter, 86-81. Minnesota started off really well. They were up 25-14 in the first, and then it almost flipped. The Phoenix outscored them in the second, 24-13. So Minnesota had a 4-point lead at halftime, if my addition is correct. Maybe a 2-point lead. And then Minnesota, very strong third quarter. Kayla McBride was hitting threes, and they were just rolling. They outscored Phoenix 30-17. And then it's like the thing got flipped again. They only scored 13 points in the fourth quarter, and Phoenix came back with a 31-point fourth quarter to get the win, 86-81. So, Minnesota played a clean game. One of the games they had a bunch of turnovers, and that cost them the game. This time, no. 6 turnovers. And they got 14 points off. Wait a minute. They ended up getting 14 points off of Phoenix's turnovers, which they had 12, which still isn't horrible. But, they had an advantage there. Points in the paint was even. But Phoenix got 22 bench points, and Minnesota only got 5. So that was somewhat of a contribution towards the victory. Let's see what else here. Minnesota had more fast break points. Let's see. They had as much as a 14-point lead twice, I think it was. The second time it might have been 13, but in the first half they had a 14-point lead, and then in the second half they had, I think it might have only been a 13-point lead, but when in that third quarter they had built up another lead again, and Phoenix just came back. So Phoenix outshot them, but just by a little bit. It was pretty even. Phoenix shot 42% overall, and Minnesota shot 41%. 3-point shooting percentage, Phoenix was a little higher. They were just a little higher in each one of these. So Phoenix 39% to Minnesota's 37%. Let's see here. Yeah, the starters were really, really close in just about everything. But you look at the bench points, and all Phoenix's percentages go way up over what Minnesota had. So given that they were already shorthanded, it was, they needed more out of their bench, and they just didn't get it. So let's see here. Looking at points, you had 3 players in double figures for Minnesota. Kayla McBride, she was hitting threes. She hit 6 of them. She was 6 for 11. But she was kind of, in that fourth quarter when Phoenix caught them, she hit 2 in the fourth, if I'm not mistaken. But then the last couple of minutes, they were just, like when they went on that drought, it was like the 7-minute mark. They were at 70 points, and they didn't hit 72 until 2 minutes and I want to say 33 seconds. And it just looked like they were trying to force it a little too much instead of working the ball around for the best shot. If that ends up being McBride, great, or Courtney Williams, or Carlton open. But they seemed like they were just, McBride would get the ball and she'd just try and create her own shot, and it just felt forced, which I was sad to see. So anyway, Kayla McBride was 10 for 23 overall. She was 6 for 11 from 3. She was perfect at the foul line. 31 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Jessica Shepard, she played really well in the first half. She was scoring in the first half, but then in the second half, it was really, I don't know I couldn't really tell what was happening, but she just wasn't scoring in the second half. Because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, she had 10 points in the first quarter. So she only got 4 more points throughout the game. She had 7 rebounds. Alana Smith had 8 points and 8 rebounds. She was 4 for 6. She only took 1 3-pointer and missed. Bridget Carlton only hit a 3-pointer, but she only took 2 shots the whole game. I don't understand. Anyway, Courtney Williams, 20 points. She was certainly trying, leaving it all on the floor. She had 6 assists. She had 2 steals, 3 rebounds. She was 2 for 6 from 3. She was 9 for 22 overall, which is 40%. They didn't shoot bad. Kundlikova, she only had 2 points. She was 1 for 6. Heidemann, she was 1 for 7. So those two right there, those two are your bench players coming in, and they just couldn't hit any shots. They each hit 1 hoop, and they needed them to make those. So, too bad for Minnesota. Let's see here. Rebounds were, they were pretty close, 34 to 38, but Phoenix out-rebounded them. Phoenix had 4 players in double figures. Satu Sabali had 21 points. She was 6 for 11, 3 for 7 from 3. She had 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Alyssa Thomas had a double-double. She had 23 points and 10 assists. She had 8 rebounds. She also had 6 turnovers. She was 11 for 18 from the floor, which is a pretty phenomenal 61%. Natasha Mack added 4 points. She had 2 from the foul line, and she hit a hoop. Copper had 13 points. She didn't shoot well, though. She was 3 for 12. She was 2 for 6 from 3, but overall 3 for 12. Cole McConney hit a 3-point shot. She was 1 for 5. Catherine Westbeld, same thing. She was 1 for 3, but they were all 3-pointers. She hit 1 3-pointer. Sammy Whitcomb, she didn't have a great shooting night either. She was 2 for 8, 1 for 6 from 3. She had 6 points, 3 assists and 4 rebounds. And then Dewana Bonner hit 2 key 3-pointers right in the end of the game that gave them the cushion and the lead. And she hit some foul shots right in the end there. And she just was playing like, I'm not going to be denied here. And, she's near the end of her career. And I think she's the oldest player. She was the oldest player on the floor with Sammy Whitcomb right behind her. So, she's figuring this is her last go-round maybe, or close to it. And, she performed really well in the fourth quarter. She was 3 for 4 from 3, 13 points and 6 rebounds. She was 4 for 7 overall. So Phoenix gets the win, and they move on to the WNBA Championship, which for the first time will be 7-game series. And we will find out tomorrow whether it's Indiana or it's the Aces. And either way that goes, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. I just hope, I hope no one gets hurt. I hope everything is officiated equally. Everybody's going on and on about the officials, which I understand. But, hopefully it will be something that it's whatever it is, it's equal, and everybody just plays to the best of their ability, and whoever comes out on top deserves it. So, anyway, that's it for this one, and I'll be covering the Fever and Aces game tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll see who goes up against Phoenix. I believe the finals start on Friday, so it should be really exciting, and we'll see who gets the championship this year. It's going to be a new team now that Phoenix has knocked out both finals contenders from last year, both Minnesota and New York. They had to beat them to get to be where they are. So, congratulations to the Mercury. They certainly have a lot of playoff experience on that team. You have Copper, who has won a championship, and Bonner and Alyssa Thomas have made it to the finals and the semifinals when they were in Connecticut multiple times. I'm pretty sure Dewana Bonner I don't know if she was part of Phoenix when they won their last championship. I can't remember, but Dewana Bonner has more playoff experience than anybody that was in the whole playoffs. So, that we'll see if that is the deciding factor and helps them. If it's the Aces, they're going to have a lot of playoff experience because they've been to the final. They won 2 years and they've made it to the semifinals and the finals the years that they didn't win. So, and then the Fever, they have, Odyssey Sims has playoff experience. Shea Petty has playoff experience. But Mitchell and Boston, not so much. And Lexi Hull, not so much. So, but hey, they've gotten it this far, so we'll see. Okay. Everyone have a good night, and we'll see you next time.